So I wanted to jump on and tell people about one of my favorite ways to start using herbs. And the biggest thing is to start with what you have already in your house, in your spice cabinet. So me and my little kitchen witch here are gonna show you just one quick thing that I like to do really regularly in my kitchen. So stay tuned. So when you're in your kitchen, a lot of times we have little spice jars that are hanging out in our cabinets from who knows how long, right? So we don't know if they're expired. We don't really know how high quality they are. Maybe they're like in the back of the cabinet. And one of my favorite things to do is every once in a while, go through the cabinet, open up everything, and give it a good smell or a good taste. Because if it has really no smell and really no taste, or it looks just completely like brown and it's not supposed to be brown, it's probably no longer good, which means one, it's not great for your cooking, right? Because it's not going to be really aromatic. It's not going to have a lot of taste and flavor, but also it's not really going to be very medicinal. And we know that these herbs that we're using in cooking is a wonderful way to add medicine and support to your everyday. And so one of my favorite things to do is make my own spice blends. Because I have a lot of herbs that I use for tea, but honestly, there are similar herbs that we use in our spice blends. And one of my absolute favorite ones to make is Italian seasoning. Not only will I get like higher quality herbs, I know where they're from, I can source them better, I can blend it in a way that works for me because I tend to like a lot of oregano, so I like my blends a little oregano heavy. And it's also cost savings because when I order my herbs, I'm ordering in bulk versus ordering a new jar every time. And it's also good for the environment because I'm ordering in bulk and putting them in big jars that I save and reuse instead of every time getting one of these and then trying to recycle it. It's a lot better for the environment if we can reuse the jars that we have. So I'm going to show you how I blend up my Italian seasoning, and I promise you, you will like it so much better than when you buy it just in the store every time. So I'd recommend getting some high quality herbs, even just like 1 ounce, and it will last you if you get the herbs that you want. And then you can blend them in all different kinds of seasonings. Italian blends don't usually have a lot of like salt or anything like that, but a lot of the other spice blends that you get in the store are going to have a lot of additives. So I really encourage you to look on the back of things when you buy a spice blend. First of all, see if the first ingredient is salt, and is that what you want? How much salt do you want in the food that you're eating? And sometimes there's a lot of like preservatives and other things that maybe you didn't realize were in your spice blend. So Kitchen Witch and I here are going to brew up some Italian seasoning blend, and I'll show you how I do it and encourage you to kind of play with what you have in your cabinet. My cat Casper decided he had to be in the video. He would not stop crying, so he says hello, and he says get some really good quality herbs and make your own spice blends. So you don't need very much, which is great. You're just going to choose the herbs you want to use. So for today, I'm going to use rosemary, dried thyme, basil, and oregano. I usually also include sage, but I ran out, so I'm going to just use the 4 I have. I am not a big measurer for things that I'm making for myself, and like I said, it depends on what you like. I love oregano. I think maybe it's because I'm half Hispanic and half Italian, and I just feel like oregano goes really well with both. I include it in my chilies and in my Puerto Rican food as well as my Italian food. So anyway, I like a lot of that. So I'm going to put that in there first to kind of get my base. It depends on how much you want to make, but I'm going to make enough to kind of fill my little jar and then also to have a little extra for a little bowl. Dried basil, I also like a good amount of that. And these are both pretty kind of similar in size, but I just do a little bit less than the oregano. Now, thyme is pretty tiny and fine. See if I can kind of show you. So it's really fine to see. So this goes a long way. So I do put less than the other two because it is pretty pronounced in the flavor. But if you love thyme, you know, go for it. And rosemary, again, one of my absolute favorites, ton of antimicrobial properties. It's so aromatic and warming, and this smells absolutely lovely, so I'm gonna really dash that in. I'm a huge rosemary fan. You can already smell the blend, just smells like Italian food. And just kind of mix it up, and then you can kind of play with it and see what you like. But this is basically way more already than what will fit in this jar. These are not cheap, so you're gonna get a lot more for your money if you do this and kind of mix it this way, and you have a lot more control over your ingredients. I'm just gonna fill up my little guy here. I usually make a mess. I usually do it over the bowl. Great way to reuse jars. It's a great way to kind of get to know the herbs, really make sure that they're high quality. And again, it's really helpful for the environment, so we're not constantly getting new things to fill up. So you fill it up, whatever you like, and then put your little top back on, and you're all set. So I hope you enjoyed that little tip. I'm going to try to post a lot of things about how I use herbs every day, because I really do use them constantly throughout my day in many different ways. And so I'm going to kind of show you how to start incorporating these things into your everyday life. And it's really simple. If you are in the kitchen, you can work with herbs. Doesn't have to be intimidating, and it's great to start with herbs that you're already familiar with. And the ones that you think are so simple, you know, black pepper, basil, oregano, they have such a huge host of benefits and things that you can learn about them, and it just enriches your food, right? Because you know what you're adding in. You can add a lot more intention, you can add a lot more support and medicinal qualities to your food, and that comes through when you're sharing it with others. So I really encourage you to play around, make your own spice blends. Like I said, start with recipes that you've already got in the back of the jars that you already like. Another really easy thing to do is when you're making your own tea blends, if there's a tea company that you like and you can look at the blend on the back, just recreate it with herbs that you have. So that's another really easy way. So start with things you've already got and just layer in herbs that are higher quality and that allow you to engage with the herbs in a lot deeper way, because you will know that they're sourced well, you'll know that they're potent, because we never really know how long these things have been sitting in jars. So that's it for today.